Hey, good morning, everybody. Hope your week is off to a great start. God bless you. This weekend we talked about giving thanks, right? Thanksgiving. And the Bible talks a lot about doing what we do with thanksgiving, being thankful. And it's an important thing. And we started talking a little bit about the children of Israel. We have a good example. The children of Israel that left in the Exodus, that left Egypt led by Moses, and they complained a lot. And the Bible mentions over and over again how they complained, and that was a big problem. The New Testament talks about that, so we're gonna read some verses in the New Testament that talk about the children of Israel and learn a little bit more. Hebrews chapter 3 says this: "Therefore, as the Holy Spirit says, today, if you will hear His voice, do not harden your hearts as in the rebellion." This is talking about the children of Israel in the wilderness. "In the day of trial in the wilderness, where your fathers tested me, tried me, saw my works 40 years. Therefore I was angry with that generation and said, they always go astray in their heart." So where did this start? Where did the going astray start? In their heart. Their hearts got hard, right? "And they have not known my ways, so I swore in my wrath, they shall not enter my rest." So these people, because of their ways, because of their sin, because of their complaining, their attitude, they went astray in their heart, and because of that, they didn't get to enter into the promised land, that generation. It was the next generation that went into the promised land. Goes on to say, "For who, having heard, rebelled? Indeed, was it not all who came out of Egypt, led by Moses? Now with whom was God angry 40 years? Was it not with those who sinned, whose corpses fell in the wilderness? And to whom did He swear that they would not enter His rest, but to those who did not obey? So we see that they could not enter in because of unbelief." Unbelief. They weren't believing. They weren't in faith. And what was the problem for that? What was the catalyst for their unbelief? Their hearts got hard because they were complaining. Complaining started this whole process of their hearts getting hard. So 1 Corinthians talks about this a little bit also. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 1 says, "Moreover, brethren, I do not want you to be unaware that all our fathers were under the cloud, all passed through the sea." So the cloud that God led them with during the day, led them by a cloud during the day, in a pillar of fire at night. "All passed through the sea," that's the Red Sea, right? When God parted the sea. "All were baptized into Moses in the cloud and in the sea. All ate the same spiritual food, and all drank the same spiritual drink. For they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Christ." So this is talking about when they ate the food, the spiritual food that God gave them, the manna, God gave them to eat. Every day they ate of that food, but it wasn't just natural. It was natural. Okay, it wasn't just spiritual. It wasn't just pretend. It was natural. They ate it, but it was spiritual. It came from God, right? And then Moses struck the rock, and water came pouring out of the rock, and they drank that water. But here it tells us that water was not just water. That water was spiritual, and it was a representation of Christ. Christ said, "He who drinks of me will never thirst again." And the Bible tells us Christ is the bread of life, and we eat of Him. We eat of His body. We drink of Him, and He is our sustenance. That's what the picture of this, the Old Testament picture, is a picture of Christ being our sustenance, the one who sustains us. He is the one who supplies us with everything we need. Okay, but that wasn't good enough for them. Verse 5 says, "But with most of them God was not well pleased, for their bodies were scattered in the wilderness. Now these things became our examples, to the intent that we should not lust after evil things as they also lusted." So we're supposed to learn from this, right? And not be like them, not do the same things. "Do not become idolaters as were some of them, as it is written, the people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play. Nor let us commit sexual immorality, as some of them did. And in one day 23,000 fell." It's a lot. "Nor let us tempt Christ, as some of them also tempted and were destroyed by serpents." So the story of the serpents coming out and biting the people, that was because of their complaining, if you go back and read it. nor complain. Verse 10 says, don't complain, as some of them also complained and were destroyed by the destroyer. Not by God, they were destroyed by the destroyer. That's something we don't understand when we just read the Old Testament account, but when we read the New Testament, it's revealed. They were destroyed by the destroyer, who is the enemy, right? Why were they destroyed by the destroyer? Because of their complaining. Complaining is selfish, and it opens the door to selfish works. And who is the author of the selfish works? The enemy, the devil. So when we complain, we're opening the door to his work in our life. And I know none of us want to do that. We want to keep that door closed on him and keep the door open to God. How do we do that? Our hearts. Our hearts. We keep our hearts soft. We don't get into unbelief. We don't get into complaining and selfishness. It started with them with complaining, okay? And then there were the other sins too, but it started with their hearts getting hard towards God. The evil heart of unbelief started with complaining. So all they had to do was remain thankful, okay? And they would have stayed out of that. So let's learn from this. Let's don't repeat what they did. Let's learn. And let's stay thankful and stay out of complaining. Complaining opens the door to the enemy, but thankfulness keeps the door closed on the enemy, keeps the door open to God and to who he is working in your life. So let's be thankful people all the time, no matter what's going on. So, all right, I love you guys. Have an awesome week. And remember, give thanks this week, okay? God bless you.